Welcome to Lockdown Big Ten Live. Let's do this again. Got to tell you, I'm in the middle of a hurricane zone, Hurricane Milton. We had some technical difficulties with some electricity glitches here. We're back. We're live. It was an amazing game. If you're just joining us right now, Ohio State and Oregon, the Big Ten game of the year, lived up to everything that we hoped that it would, and then more. And then the ending was just absolutely crazy. Welcome to a live edition of Locked On Big Ten.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, here we go. Let's do this. Locked On Big Ten Live. And what a day so far it has been around the Big Ten. I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bets, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's FanDuel.com to get yourself started. All right, Ohio State, Oregon 1.0. I think we're seeing that game again in the Big Ten Championship and maybe even in the college football playoffs. Plus, Penn State and USC, they go overtime. Illinois and Purdue, they go overtime. And before we're done tonight, we'll have our very first look at week 8, if you can believe it, around the Big Ten. Absolutely fascinating. All right, but let's get into it here. Let's chop it up with the game here with Ohio State at Oregon. What a great atmosphere at Autzen Stadium. Already it looked like the Ducks would be shorthanded, of course, with Jordan Birch. They're all everything on the defensive line, the most disruptive player. Couldn't give it a go. Got injured in practice this week. Ohio State starts the game early with a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Took 5 minutes. Will Howard had the 1-yard touchdown right away. A critical point in that draft or that drive, by the way. It looked like Jeff Bassa had himself an interception, and then he wasn't able to. They didn't give it to him. They went to instant replay, or they didn't go to instant replay. It was a pass completion to Will Kaczmarek, and didn't look like he had it. And then all of a sudden, Ohio State was on the move, and they didn't go to replay, then check that out. That was bizarre, and Ohio State cashed it in for a touchdown to go up 7-0 with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. That's how we started this game. Oregon's first drive, they had to punt. Then Ohio State gets the ball back, but Quinshon Judkins, one of the great running backs, just had the ball stripped away from him on a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, with Michigan State transfer Derek Harmon now playing for Oregon. It was a great defensive play. And, of course, Oregon then got things going with Jordan James. He had a great night tonight, running hard on the ground, 25 yards to the Ohio State 3-yard line. He had 166 yards the previous week against Michigan State. He's been on a roll. And then he ended up scoring a 3-yard touchdown with 5:51 to go in the first. They had a botch snap on the conversion. And so then the guy throws it in the end zone. It gets intercepted. It was returned 65 yards before he was tackled. Ohio State, one more man to beat. He could have got a 2-point reverse conversion on that. And how big would that have been later in the ball game? So we're sitting at this point, Ohio State 7, Oregon 6. 43 seconds go the first quarter. Oregon had gotten the ball back. They miss a field goal by Atticus Sappington, 44 yards out. These points matter. And right now we're still 7-6 at this point. Ohio State with some pretty good field position. Remember, Judkins had fumbled earlier. Travion Henderson gets his turn, rips off a couple of runs for 17 yards and then 53 yards. And that's how we go into the second quarter with Ohio State starting to rev it up here. They put Judkins back into the lineup, and he scored on a 1-yard touchdown with 14:22 to go in the second, capping off a quick 4-play, 74-yard drive. And that made it 14-6. Ohio State on top over Oregon. Oregon gets the ball back. Dylan Gabriel finds Evan Stewart, who had a nice night, for 69 yards to the Ohio State 8-yard line. It's first and goal. Dylan Gabriel, nice fade back, goes right back to Stewart for a 10-yard touchdown. They got a little cute with their 2-point play. They missed that. Again, they're leaving points on the field and not on the scoreboard here. But they get closer, so Ohio State is up 14-12 at this point with 12:31 to go in the second quarter. And then what does Oregon do? Was that, in your opinion, was that an onside kick, or was that just an unintentional onside kick where Oregon kicks it, drills it right into the Ohio State player, comes right back at him, and Oregon gets him? That way, recovering on the 41-yard line. I don't know if that was planned or not. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. I still haven't decided. And then Dylan Gabriel finds Treshaun Holden for 32 yards. But then the kid lost his mind. He ends up spitting at Davison Igbenogsen's face. He's tossed from the game. One of the dumbest plays I've ever seen. And he knew it. I don't know what happened. He snapped. He snapped with frustration. He spit in the kid's face. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. You got to be tossed from the game. So that drive stalls. Atticus Sappington makes a short 27-yard field goal to give Oregon its first lead of the day, 15-14 over Ohio State with 10:09 to go in the second quarter. Ohio State now, they try to answer. Will Howard made a beautiful 15-yard touchdown pass to Emeka Egbuka on the left side. That kid had 3 touchdowns last week, by the way. Capped off the 12-play, 75-yard drive. So with just under 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, Ohio State back up 21-15. We're going back and forth. We had 7 lead changes in this game. Unbelievable. Oregon, then they come back. A 7-play, 75-yard drive. Dylan Gabriel finds Tez Johnson for 48 yards for a touchdown. This time the extra point is good. Oregon back on top, 22-21, a minute 17 left to go, and that's how we go into halftime, 22-21, 1-point game at the half. Ohio State comes out, and they open things up in the second half with a quick 6-play, 79-yard drive. Will Howard found freshman sensation Jeremiah Smith for the 6-yard touchdown. Jeremiah Smith is something else. He's an exciting football player. He's a freshman. He's a man-child. And he is incredible. So it's good to get him in this game, get involved at this point. They really needed him at this point. And he's fun to watch each and every week. You got him on one side. You got Tez Johnson on the other side for Ohio State, or for Oregon, rather. But right now we got Ohio State up 28-22 over Oregon. And then Oregon's next drive almost dried up. But on 4th down, Dan Lanning goes for it. Lanning makes the call. It's 4th and 1. He's got his guy in shotgun, which I don't like on 4th and 1. But Gabriel finds Terrence Ferguson for 32 yards. Totally faked out the Ohio State defense. They were all jumped in, ready to go at the line of scrimmage in tight, and he pops outside on the left side and ends up making the catch and getting it down to the Ohio State 20-yard line. Gutsy call by Dan Lanning. Great execution by the Ducks under pressure. Fabulous play right there. Couple of nice runs by Jordan James, gets them 1st and goal. Nice pass rush here by the Buckeyes, causes some problems. We end up with a 4th and goal from the 2. We got 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Dylan Gabriel throws an incomplete pass. Again, the Bucks defense doing a nice job with the pass rush on all this. But Ohio State can't do anything with it deep in its own territory. They got to end up punting it right back to Oregon, and that's how we go to the fourth quarter. Now it's starting to become Jordan James time on the ground. And by the way, great pass blocking by him as well out of the backfield throughout that ball game. Dylan Gabriel, the nifty 27-yard planned run. He never runs on purpose anyway. And they got the defensive end, JT, there for Ohio State. Didn't have his assignment protected. He ran right in thinking it was to the running back, and Gabriel ran right outside of him, got 27 yards out of it, and scored a touchdown, 27-yard touchdown. So with 13:20 to go in a quarter, Oregon is now back up 29-28 over Ohio State. What are the Buckeyes going to do? Well, their drive stalls. They got set up for a field goal. Jaden Fielding, 40-yard field goal, but it's big because it puts Ohio State back on top. 31-29 at this point, exactly 6 minutes to go in the game. Would it be enough? Would it be enough? Well, Dylan Gabriel gets to work for the Ducks, finds Terrence Ferguson for 26 yards. Later, there's a pass interference call. We're 3rd and goal. Jordan James stuffed at the 1 with 1:51 to go. 4th and goal from the 1. They decide to kick it. Atticus Sappington comes in, the junior from Portland, the transfer from Oregon State. Boom. 19-yard chippy. Good. Oregon on top, 32-21, but there's plenty of time on the clock for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Will Howard, experienced quarterback, 5th-year senior, transfer from Kansas State, finds Emeka Egbuka, 26 yards to the Oregon 28-yard line. From here, it would be a 45-yard field goal. All right? Now, but they end up on the next play, an offensive pass interference on the freshman sensation Smith. That backs them up to a 2nd and 25, and now they're out of field goal range. They can't win a game at this point. 3rd and 25. We're down to 10 seconds to go. There's an incomplete pass. There's a flag. There's an illegal substitution on Oregon, 5-yard penalty. Now this would be about a 52-yard field goal for Ohio State at this point, but there's 6 seconds to go. 3rd down. The plan is for a quick play, timeout, game-winning field goal. Will Howard goes back to throw, doesn't like what he sees. There's nothing there. Starts to run, runs it up the middle, tries to get an extra yard. 2 seconds, 1 second, boom, game over. No chance to call a timeout, kick a field goal. Devastating play for the Ohio State Buckeyes and a very experienced quarterback. And then the place at Autzen Stadium goes nuts as the Ducks end up to hanging on to win this game 32-31. What an incredible day. 7 lead changes in this game. By the way, if you're new, thank you for checking us out here tonight on a Saturday night. Always ask you to subscribe. We're here every day. We go live on Saturdays after the biggest game on the schedule, but we're here Monday through Friday, all throughout the week, talking Big Ten. If you subscribe, you'll get all of them. Go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. It's for free. It's always for free. Subscribe, share, follow, and like. We always ask you to do that here on Locked On Big Ten, wherever you get your podcasts for that matter. You'll get the latest episode as soon as it's available each and every day. And don't forget, you can pick up all of our previous podcasts, grouped by your favorite team, and merchandise for your favorite school at our website, talkbig10.com. That's talkbig10.com. All right, we had some thrillers here today in the Big Ten. Penn State and USC. What a fantastic finish that was. We've got Illinois and Purdue going overtime in a crazy one. We'll cover all the games right here and get to your comments next segment on a live edition of Locked On Big Ten. Want to welcome ZBiotics, a brand new sponsor that we have here on Locked On Big Ten. Want to welcome them aboard. They're a pre-alcohol probiotic drink. Check this out. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. All right. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted to a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct and not dehydration that really makes you feel bad the next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this byproduct. And you just remember to take ZBiotics, make it your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best the next day. Go to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege and learn more and get 15% off your first order. Then use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to use the code lockedoncollege at checkout for 15% off. So check that out, ZBiotics. And also, I want to tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel makes all these games that are very exciting even more exciting. If you're an NFL fan, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So if you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and much more on the same page where you place your bets. And you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Now, we hit on the Thursday nighter, 49ers and the Seahawks. I told you all week long, take the over on that. It hit big time. So take the Bengals this weekend, -3.5 over the Giants in a must-win game. and the Lions at -3 at the Cowboys. Detroit is just the superior team and coming off a bye. Check it all out at FanDuel at FanDuel.com. Thanks for joining us on this live edition of Locked On Big Ten here on a Saturday night, Sunday morning. Thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, share, and follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day, and check out our website, talkbig10.com. Let's get into it a little bit here. Penn State and USC. What's the knock on Penn State, right? First of all, they're the number 4 team in the country. And they're taking on USC, which was ranked as high as 11th, but they lost to Minnesota, and they're out of top 25 altogether. But I still think this was considered a big game, big road game for Penn State, big platform game. And what's the knock on James Franklin and Penn State? They don't win these games. They win all the rest of them. And things didn't start out great here. They were down by 2 touchdowns in this one, 20-6 at one point. But with about under 3 minutes to go, they got this game tied up 30-30. Nice drive by Drew Aller. James Franklin, a couple of big 4th down conversions for his team here on this drive. And they get the game all tied up. And then USC's Miller Moss throws an interception with 3 seconds to go. They can't do anything on a 3rd and 7. They could have kicked a field goal. They cost themselves 3 points. They cost themselves a chance to win a game. Penn State's Jalen Reed got the interception, returned it 22 yards, and then we go into overtime. Well, Penn State, I got to be honest, got away with a couple of pass coverage, little tight pass cover, maybe some pass interference they got away with a couple of times. And then USC's Michael Lance missed a 43-yard field goal, which would have put him up by 3 in overtime. Penn State gets the ball. Ryan Barker debuted last week as the kicker, got the big kick, 36-yarder. Boom, game over. Penn State wins at the Coliseum at USC. Huge win. Drew Aller, 391 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He had 2 interceptions all last year. Had 3 in this game. And then there's Tyler Warren. We talk about him all the time on this podcast. 17 catches, 224 yards. Rushed on. Yeah, I said that right. 224 yards. He rushed on a play. He threw a pass. This is what he does. If you don't watch Penn State, he's Andy Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator's secret weapon. Does everything, and he's huge. It's a lot of fun to watch. USC probably should have watched him some more on film to figure out he was going to be a key to this game. I could have told you. I did tell you that. USC's Miller Moss threw for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Woody Marks had a good day, 20 carries for 111 yards. And then Desmond Stevens, the second, Deuce Robinson, and Easton Mascarenas Arnold all had interceptions for the Trojans today. But the Trojans have lost 3 games at the wire where they got beat late in these games, whether it be Minnesota, Michigan, or Penn State. This is a problem. So they're now 3-3. Also, elsewhere around the Big Ten, Iowa 40-16 over Washington. Are you kidding me? Iowa 40 points again. It's the second time they've hit 40. In fact, in their 4 wins, they've had 40 points. They've had 38 points, 31, and 40. We're talking about Iowa football, and they're not doing it with some air attack. Cade McNamara only completed 8 of 14 passes for 108 yards. That's normal. That's normal. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, taking care of the ball. And Caleb Johnson rushing for 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is a machine on the ground. They just hand it off to him all day. This is what they do. Play a little defense on the other side, you're going to win. It's as old school as it gets. Kirk Ferentz just got his 200th win at Iowa as the Iowa head coach. That is second all time in the Big Ten behind Woody Hayes. Got 5 more to go. He's going to catch Woody Hayes. Think about that for a minute. Iowa's Jamari Harris had an interception in the game as well. Rutgers and Wisconsin. Wisconsin goes out to Rutgers. This game surprised me a little bit. Wisconsin ended up beating Rutgers 42-7. Watch out. Maybe Wisconsin's starting to put things together. They played a good half at USC a couple weeks ago. They clobbered Purdue, but Purdue wasn't playing very well at that point. And then they win at Rutgers. That's good. Tommy Walker ran for a career high 198 yards, 3 touchdowns. Braden Locke threw for 240 yards and a touchdown, ran for a touchdown as well. And Preston Zachman had an interception. Rutgers is 4-2 after starting out 4-0. They were excited about this. They were 4-1. They had 50,000 fans coming in there. Most of them were gone by the end, though, because Wisconsin really had a day. Meanwhile, we had another overtime game today. Purdue, who has really struggled since their 49-0 season opening win against Indiana State. They've lost 5 straight since then. They lost to Illinois today, 50-49 in overtime. Purdue scored 3 touchdowns. Purdue was a 3-touchdown underdog in this game. Hudson Card out with a concussion. No problem. They may have found their quarterback of the future in Ryan Brown. Purdue ends up rallying, scoring 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Brown threw for 297 yards and ran for 118 yards. That's pretty good. But he found Devin Maccabee with a 13-yard touchdown pass with 46 seconds to go to send this into overtime. Two-point conversion put him up by 3 late in the game, 43-40. But Illinois put together a 7-play, 53-yard drive, and they kicked a 38-yard field goal at the horn to send it into overtime. Luke Altmaier and Illinois threw a 25-yard touchdown pass to Pat Bryan to go up by 7. Purdue scored a touchdown, but they went for 2. They went for the win instead of the tie to keep the overtime going. They came up short. Quarterback was sacked. Game over. Tough day for Purdue. Great day for Illinois. Luke Altmaier threw for 379 yards with 3 touchdowns, no picks. Pat Bryan, 4 catches, 140 yards, and that touchdown in overtime. Devin Maccabee, who we like, running back for Purdue, 11 carries, 118 yards. Also caught 3 balls for 31 yards. Wide receiver Max Clare for Purdue, 6 catches, 133 yards. So Purdue did some good things today, and it's been a rough season so far. And it's about to get rougher. Their schedule has Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State, 3 of the next 4 games. Not going to win those. Meanwhile, Minnesota is at UCLA as we speak, as we are live. Minnesota's up 14-10 with 13 minutes and change to go, and that one out at the Rose Bowl. Don't forget Friday night, we had Northwestern. This game surprised me. Northwestern at Maryland. Northwestern won 37-10. It's their first Big Ten win of the year. Maryland outgained the Wildcats 355-283 yards in the game, but turnovers killed them. Terps had a season-high 4 turnovers. 3 in the fourth quarter. You can't win with 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. Terps were coming off a bye. They're 0-10, coming off a week off, by the way, now. And the turnovers, it was brutal. And Northwestern outscored them 20-3 in the fourth quarter. 17 points off of takeaways. Terps were plus 11 on turnovers going into this game. This is very unusual for them. Bryce Kurtz for Northwestern had 3 catches for 123 yards, and Damon Walters had an interception and a 33-yard return there. All right, we will have, let's do some comments. Got a lot of comments on here. Let's check it out. Want to get to them. And then we're going to have our first look at week 8 in the Big Ten as well. Here's a comment from Jeffrey talking about Lincoln Riley. Gave that game away. Poor clock management. Anyway, thank you for the shout out. Those of you who heard me. If you just tuned in live, we had a false start on our live broadcast tonight. Literally all the power went out. We had power glitches. We've been having power glitches for days because we're right in the hurricane. We're in Florida. Hurricane Milton. Having fun with that. So let's see what else we got here. Go Ducks from George. And Sightless says Oregon 6-0 in the Big Ten. And let's go Ducks. Welcome to the Big Ten. Here's Nick checking in. Look, I'm an excited Ducks fan, but Ohio State is legit. Those are the best 2 teams in the Big Ten, hands down. Dare I say in the country? Yes. No, that's a fair statement. That's why I like to talk about how they're going to meet again in the Big Ten championship and maybe even in the college football playoff. They'll probably seed them so they don't play in a championship, but I don't know that. We won't know that till December. Let's see here. Get some other ones going here. I knew the Ducks had a fair chance at winning. Ohio State is amazing. Thank you for checking out. Let's see here. What a game from SV33 and 99. Yoden here says, bring on Vandy. Go Ducks. Vandy just beat Alabama last weekend. I like that one. That's pretty good. Let's see. Wow. Go Ducks from Deuce. Free climb. Ohio Soft University is what he's calling them. Never fails to live down high expectations. I will tell you this, and Ohio State does get ripped sometimes for not being tough enough. That last drive by Oregon to take the lead, they punched Ohio State in the mouth. They really did. They controlled them. So we got all that coming up. More comments. Let's see here. Brandon checking in. Oregon easily left 8 points off the board that they should have. Yeah, they did. They maybe shouldn't have gone down to the wire like that. They should have more points on the board. They definitely did. Let's see. Crosshair says the Lockdown Buckeyes guy, who's a friend of mine, Jay Stevens, says he calls the Ducks a fraud. He's going to have to eat those words. There's no question. All right. Deuce saying, thank you for your work, Craig. Go Ducks. Thank you very much. All right, we'll continue. I've got hundreds of comments here tonight. Thank you for checking in. We're going to do a look at week 8 coming up, and then we'll have all this. Don't forget, you can join us throughout the week. We release our podcast every morning, video and audio at 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific every day. But we like to go live here on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, depending on when we go live. In fact, I think we're going to go live a little earlier next Saturday. I'll tell you why in just 1 minute as we continue with a live edition of Locked On Big Ten. Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. All right, let's continue here. Quick look now at week 8 around the Big Ten. Some games that are going to catch my attention and yours too. We'll kind of plan our week a little bit here for Locked On Big Ten. But the Friday night game, the Oregon Ducks team that we saw tonight, they got a short week, playing Friday night. They're playing at Purdue. It looked like Purdue is starting to put things together for the first time. That's the 8 o'clock Eastern game on Fox Friday night under the lights. From Ross-Ade Stadium. Saturday, this is one I'm looking for. You may know I'm an Indiana grad. Nebraska, 5-1 at number 18, Indiana, 6-0. That's big noon on Fox. Very excited about that. In fact, the big noon on Fox pregame show is going to do its show from Bloomington, Indiana. Wisconsin is at Northwestern. That's a 12 o'clock game on the Big Ten Network. And UCLA is at Rutgers. Cross-country trips, they're tough. We saw Washington struggle at Rutgers a couple of weeks ago. UCLA making that trip to Rutgers, 12 o'clock FS1. Then here's another neat game. We got 24th ranked Michigan and number 23 Illinois. That's the 3:30 game on CBS. That's the 100th meeting between those schools. Illinois is going to have their helmets painted with a realistic 3D look to make them look like leather helmets from back in the day. That will be cool. I think that's the game we're going to go live after. So it's a little earlier than we normally do. That'll probably be around 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern, 3:30, 4 o'clock Pacific. So a little earlier next Saturday when we go live. Check it out. Also, we got USC at Maryland, 4 o'clock on FS1 Eastern time, and then Iowa at Michigan State. That's the 7:30 Big Ten Saturday night game on NBC. Thanks for joining us here live Saturday night, Sunday morning. What a great day around the Big Ten. Love talking about Big Ten. I know you love talking to your friends about Big Ten. Tell them that we're out here every day for Locked On Big Ten. Check us out. Many ways to find us on YouTube. You can subscribe there as well for free. We're on Twitter. And, of course, we have our own website, talkbig10.com. So thanks for checking us out. We'll see you throughout the week. Can't wait to talk to you on Monday. Going to wrap all this up and talk about it, break down some stories, and preview week 8 here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon. We'll see you next time.